This is Garis, Masculist, MGTOW flyers. That is 2 3-page essays on the themes of Masculism and MGTOW, written by and read aloud by Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. This is flyer number 531, part 3, entitled, Why are Masculists such misogynists? Carrying straight on. These two major issues of the Masculists are closely linked, as should now be obvious. One of the major reasons why Masculists spit on fluffies is that fluffies cause the massacring of divorcing fathers in the divorce courts. Masculists are pushing for the creation of a FIP society, which is their major political goal, that is to create a society in which everyone is a FIP, who is socialised by parents and educated by teachers and professors to be FIPs, who pull their own financial weight, so they don't expect fluffy style to parasite off the labour and money of a man, thus manslaving him for decades, a major gender crime against men and a war issue to Masculists. As millions of men become masculisted, the moral pressure on young women to FIP up will be enormous, crushing, suffocating, so that young women who don't FIP up will be driven to suicide in many cases, since they will come under tremendous conformist pressure by men to FIP up, or be utterly rejected and spat at by hateful masculisted men who see fluffies as manslavers, as immoral, parasitic, manslaving vermin to be wiped out. Masculists have an even greater hatred for fluffy feminists who control the divorce courts, because they are also hypocrites and genociders. These women will be destroyed by Masculists, one way or another. One way is simply with bullets, murdering thousands of them in a sex war. More benign ways are to simply destroy monoconscious feminism by utterly discrediting it, so that it simply dies out, the way belief in witchcraft and Negro slavery died out. In a few years, with the massive spread of Masculists and MGTOW ideas, monoconscious feminists will be crushed both by Masculists and by young babyless women, who both will hate them, since the Masculists teach young women that the root cause of their babylessness, that is why young quality men refuse to give them their sperm, is due to the toxicity of the divorce courts. Young quality men simply refuse to be fathers, so boycott giving young women their sperm. If the gender laws, particularly regarding the divorce courts, can be made men fair, then young men can be persuaded to be fathers again. But for that to happen, young women will need to vote with men for the men fairing of the gender laws. In the case of the divorce courts, custody of children will need to be made joint by default, or men will continue to boycott paternity and young women will continue to be babyless. Alimony needs to be thrown out. Halving of wealth and stuff needs to be scrapped, so we no longer see the moral horror of useless females walking away with billions of dollars from a divorced billionaire male just because she gave this man access to her cunt years earlier. Divorce courts in a FIP society will operate under the principle of financial independence, where both divorcing partners, the man and the woman, the father and the mother, are both assumed to be FIPs, so that there's no financial parasiting of the mother off the father. She is assumed to have made herself a FIP earlier in life, so that after the divorce she can be financially independent and not expect to parasite off the money and labour of a man. That is, she is expected not to be a hated, decades-lasting manslaver. For the divorce courts in a FIP society to operate under the assumption of financial independence, the FIPPing of women is essential. Hence the enormous importance that Masculist theorists place on the social engineering of the FIPPing of women, putting enormous moral pressure on young women to fib up or be psychologically crucified by all the young men around them, sending these fluffies into a totally depressed psychological state, totally emotionally and sexually rejecting them as worthless human beings, as hated manslavers who deserve to die. Cheers. Prof. Dr. Hugo de Garis. Email profhugodegaris@yahoo.com. Website profhugodegaris.wordpress.com. Author of the book Masculism, Men's Rebellion Against Being Manslaves to Women, an e-textbook of 530 plus masculist flyers for men's studies courses, freely downloadable in Microsoft Word format from my website. Ciao.